So the wonderful person you see in front of you is Emily. She is an ISTP and has a channel on YouTube called piccosixteen. Like many of the interviews I do, the YouTube gods sort of just put her content in front of me, and then I indulge them. And then I said, okay, I have to have her on the show. She is somewhat new to the MBTI YouTube community, but Emily, it's great to have you here.
Yeah, it's great to be here. I'm really excited that you reached out about this show.
Yeah, and can you tell the audience what is piccosixteen? What is that about?
Yeah, so it's right now focused a lot on content creation. So trying to like educate people for free on this personality stuff on YouTube and TikTok. So just making educational type videos and then also doing coaching. So we have a few clients right now who we are helping with personality specific type coaching.
Okay, what does pico mean? Does it mean something?
Yeah, so it stands for peak in Italian.
Mm,
So it's like reaching your peak, like getting, like just seeing a lot of potential in people, helping people like reach their potential, reach their peak.
gotcha. Of
And
the
so
16 types.
yeah, exactly.
Gotcha. Perfect. Okay. I didn't know that. I think you might have that in your about section on your website somewhere, but just wanted the audience to know that. So I want to start by, I know that you cannot stand a lot of the information that's out there on the ISTP. So like, what are some of the common misconceptions about the ISTP?
Yeah, so I think the number one thing is the mechanic description, which I know it's not like not literally all ISTPs are mechanics, but I feel like it gets this like has this like hands-on connotation to it that and I don't know if this is just a me problem, but I took it like literally. I tend to take things literally, so I like took it pretty literally. So I had a really hard time understanding the like ISTP descriptions at first, but it's not like ISTPs don't have to be like hands-on with things. So it's not that they're like, it's all about like, you know, they like to fix things with tools, like literally holding a screwdriver or like a hammer or something like that. And it's not that literal. They can like fix things that, like businesses or relationships or things like that, or like software code. Like it doesn't actually need to be like this like hands-on feel to it.
Right. It's more of like a system. I mean, because they're great at systems. So it's like
Yeah.
a relationship's a system, a business, a hierarchy, and a business is a system. So it's like, okay, so it's not literally like ISTPs can only be jet engine mechanics or like work on like some sort of branch of engineering that requires them, like mechanical engineering. They don't that's like, it comes more from the 16 personalities, like just kind of a meme that exists.
Yeah, exactly. And that's like there's so many that's why like I hate the career recommendations because they're just so limited. There's like so many things that like one ISTP commented on my video saying that she was going into like philosophy, for example. So there's just a lot of things you can do. And like even with the like the comment you made about the like serial hobbyist thing, like you thought that ICPs would be like serial hobbyists. So this may just be a me problem, but like I thought I didn't have hobbies for the longest time because like when I think of hobby, I think of like hands-on stuff or like you like painting or gardening or like mountain biking or like just physical stuff, you know. But I like my hobbies are like going down information rabbit holes and like collecting nuggets of information. So like I want to get away from like the hands-on thing with ISPs.
This is a question I just thought of randomly, but I think you'll be able to answer it well. How do you think you differ from your sister type, the ESTP? Or maybe how do you relate to them? Maybe that's a better question. Like how do you find yourself relating to them?
Yeah, so my boyfriend is actually an ESTP, so I have a lot of experience with at least him. I have some friends that are ESTPs too, but they are they're a lot more observant than I am. Like we'll walk into a room and my boyfriend will immediately notice like the molding on the walls and like what type it is and how nice it is. And I won't have even like registered that the room had molding in it. He'll like notice when I like wear something. He'll notice when I like wear something. Sorry. He'll notice when I like wear something new for the first time. Like he just like is very observant and picks up on things. He can like read my facial expressions and can read my emotions, even like little subtle things that I'm changing or like tone of voice. So they're a lot more observant. They're better with people than I am, just in like talking and socializing and like making things fun. Definitely more like extroverted in that sense. What else?
In a way, they're like, you know, for example, like INTJ, ENTJ, I can see how you can get that confused, but I don't think it would be hard to confuse an ISTP and ESTP. They're so different in their, like, I guess in the intensity of their extroversion.
Yeah. That is a really good point, actually. I haven't thought about that before.
Yeah, because I mean, even someone observing maybe someone observing your TikTok might think you're an ESTP just because you're a little bit more extroverted. When that camera comes on, everything changes, which is kind of funny. But what type do you think is the hardest to understand for you?
So I think people on TikTok would say introverted sensing, like people with that, they think that I don't understand that. So like ISTJs and ISFJs, but I still think we're just using different definitions for things. So, but I don't know, honestly, like I feel like as soon as I feel like I understand a type, I'm learning something new about them that I didn't realize before. So I feel like I'm kind of just always learning about every type. Like INTJs, for example, I thought I understood INTJs pretty well. I have some in my life and have a lot of experience like working with them. And then I watched your interview with Alexis, and since you guys are both INTJs, you guys are talking about like how it can be, you'll go on these like productivity binges and then like kind of burn out, or like it's hard to like, I don't know, like do stuff in reality, which I didn't realize was a thing. Like I just kind of have always like seen as like an outside observer, just this like extreme level of productivity and like just, like doing things all the time. And so I didn't even realize that you guys experience that. So I feel like I'm just constantly learning about each of the types.
Yeah. Yeah. And there's like, even you talked about coaching, I do development stuff as well. And until you've actually like dealt with the type, what we really have is just like an academic, or like, I would say like what the literature says on the type. Like I interviewed my first ISFP a couple months back, and I was very surprised at what I thought they would be and what actually was. And, I think introverted feeling types are like kind of like moody. They can't get themselves motivated. They're like kind of more artsy, but they're not like, they're not go-getters. And this gal is also a coach and very much a go-getter. So you can be surprised at the types and how they actually manifest than like what, the meme says. So yeah, I think just like Carl Jung said, like development's a lifelong journey. So as you go through life, you're always going to find one more nugget of information on the types. It's pretty great.
Yeah. Well, and like there's so many factors change it too. It like age, I think, is a big thing. So like, an ISTP at 15 years old looks very different from one at like 30. So.
Yeah. And that's why it's like, the SE dominant types, the ESTP as a 7-year-old is going to be less like crazy. Like they will have done all their sensory experiences earlier theoretically. So they're not going to be as like rambunctious maybe as a stereotypical ESFP or ESTP. So you have to take that with a grain of salt too. This is a question, I just love asking this question. I wasn't asking it for a while, but I'm bringing it back to all my interviews. So you in a project team of 3 other people. So you have yourself and then 3 other types working on a project. You can select a project. I'm not going to tell you what kind of project it is, but in this scenario, what are the other 3 types you want to pick? And then tell me why. Tell me why. I want to know the reasoning.
Okay. I love this question, by the way. So my initial gut response is to tackle this from a productivity, getting stuff done standpoint. And so it would be ENTJ or ESTJ route. But then I remembered a quote from Ben Horowitz, and hold on, sorry. Let me, if I can bring it up, because I'm going to butcher it for sure. What I say to people at the firm is that nobody 10 or 20 or 30 years from now is going to remember what deals we've won or lost or what the returns were on this or that. You're going to remember what it felt like to work here and to do business with us and what kind of imprint we put on the world, and that's our culture. So I changed from a productivity mindset to a fun mindset. What am I going to remember? Who do I want to work with? How's that going to feel? So I choose ENFP, an ESFP, and an INTP would be my choices because.
Wow, what? That's crazy.
Because I ENFPs and ESFPs, at least from my experience, they're extremely likable. They're so fun to be around and talk to, and they're so creative. And I just think it'd be a lot of fun working with them. ESFPs can also help make sure that we're doing stuff and getting stuff done. So I feel like that would help. And then INTPs, I just love INTPs. I have a lot of INTP friends, and they they can relate to my emotional instability, which I feel would be an important factor to have. So
wow, okay. So just to kind of break this down a little bit, you've gone with 2 introverted thinking types.
Oh, because of me and
yeah. So you have TI and TI, and then you have NE dominant, and then you have SE dominant. So yes. Okay. No, I appreciate you mentioning that both ESFP and ENFP do have TE there in the third, in that little third. So they're not ENTJs like you almost said, but they still can get things done and drive a project forward. It's but did you have not chosen any J types?
I guess not.
That's funny. I love that. You're I guess it's all P types. Okay.
Yeah, I guess it is. Yeah.
Okay. And that's really you've definitely. I think there's only been one other person that didn't choose ENTJ, but I like how you kind of took the mindset of well, if we're thinking long term about this, is it like Ben Horowitz said? Is it about the numbers, the revenue, the deals, or is it about the imprint the company left on everyone? So that's a really interesting mindset you took there. Let's talk about TI. This will be the last thing I ask you. And I think it's interesting because do you think that TI makes you smart? Do you feel the TI logic, that you are more logical than other people?
So if you had asked me this, I don't know, 5 or more years ago, I would have said yes. I had an ego about it and thought I was smart and other people were dumb and didn't make sense. But I feel just living life longer and having more experiences has given me a lot more opportunities to be wrong and realize how wrong I am about things. So it's gotten to a point where it's I just kind of have this, at least in the back of in my mind, that I just kind of assume I'm probably wrong about something. So I don't think it makes me smarter at all, especially because it's I feel it's the difference between economics and behavioral economics. I feel the smart people do behavioral economics, the people that are good with other people and understand human behavior and understand that like those people I think are really smart to and be able to thrive in this world. But just having logic for logic's sake is like studying economics. It's like not very useful. So
that is so smart to say. So it's like, oh my God, I have so many things to say about that. I won't say all of them, but it's like there's the Austrian school of economics. Like, well, here's how a perfect market would look. Like if every single person made the most rational decision at all times and there was no manipulation, it would be this school of thought. But then there's like, yeah, but here's how the market actually works. And it's more of like that shady Wall Street thing that's going on. You're like, this is the applied economics, like what it really does.
Yeah, exactly. So it's like, it doesn't help to study the theory of it when that's not how it is actually playing out.
Okay. So do you find yourself constantly rechecking what you know to make sure that it's still validated?
Oh yeah, all the time. I mean, going back to that example with INTJs, like I thought I understood INTJs and then I learned something from your interview with Alexis. And so I'm like refining my understanding of TE and INTJs and how that relates to SE and all of that stuff. So I'm constantly reworking. It's like constant dialogue in my mind of my understanding of things.
Okay. That's awesome. This has been a really insightful interview. I don't know, just from the top of my head, I'm sure there are not any other ISTP females on YouTube doing content. So thank you for, there is? Tell me who it is.
Okay. It's ISTP Perspective.
Oh, shoot. Okay, I'll put that down for everyone to go find their content as well. But I'm going to also put I'll put your TikTok and your channel on in the description so that people can find you. I do think there's been this overwhelming push to get more sensors to put out content because everything is an intuitive point of view about what sensors are and not a lot of sensor content as to what sensors actually are. So it's been awesome to have you. And I hope everyone connects with you and watches your content. I think it's really good.
Awesome. Thanks, Joe. This was fun.
I tried to live without you. Just can't go.